The Philippine National Police and the Department of Health continue to call on the public not to use illegal firecrackers to celebrate this holiday season. The DOH says banned firecrackers are usually the cause of most firecracker-related injuries each year. Prohibited firecrackers include Watusi, Piccolo, Goodbye Philippines, Giant Whistle Bomb, and other giant unlabeled firecrackers. In 2017, DOH recorded a total of 463 firecracker-related injuries from the year-end merrymakings. This is lower than the 627 cases tallied in 2016.
Mag-iingat lang, ang common kasi yung puputok habang hawak pa or kinabukasan nagkaka-injuries din tayo kasi mga bata naman mamumulot, titingnan kung alin yung mga hindi pumutok tapos tsaka sila masasabugan. Kung sinindihan natin tapos hindi siya sumabog, hayaan na natin, wag na natin siyang balikan.
The PNP for its part vows to intensify monitoring of manufacturers and sellers of firecrackers who are violating the Executive Order 28 series of 2017 that regulates and controls the use of firecrackers and other pyrotechnic devices in the country.
We are intensifying our intelligence efforts para as much as possible, hindi lang yung streets and also the source. Hindi mo kailangan gumawa ng paputok para huliin ka. By mere possession of those phosphorus items are already prohibited and punishable by law.
The management of Ateneo University assures it has launched an investigation into a bullying incident that involves a junior high school student. In a viral video, the student is seen bullying and hitting his fellow student and ended with the victim enduring a bloodied nose. The video has stirred up social media storm, with netizens and local celebrities condemning the student's behavior and calling for a stop in bullying in schools. The incident has prompted the Department of Education to remind schools to strictly implement the Child Protection Policy, which strictly prohibits bullying in any form. Malacanang also urged proper authorities to thoroughly probe and appropriately act on the bullying incident.
The school should investigate the incidents and do something about it. You cannot be allowing bullying inside classroom and school. Besides, there is a law against that.
We have a policy, very, very clear policy on child protection. And we go by the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of the Child. It's not just physical, but mental as well as even electronic, cyber abuse of learners.
The university management has assured it is treating the matter with the highest priority and urgency and will take necessary actions once the investigation is completed. Some lawmakers are urging the Department of Transportation to allow the ride-hailing service app Angkas to continue its operations for the sake of public interest. House Committee on Metro Manila Development Chairman Winston Castro says there are proposals pending in Congress which seek to legalize the operation of motorcycles for hire, like Angkas. The bill states that a third-party liability insurance should be tapped to ensure the safety of the passengers. Motorcycles for hire will also be disallowed on national highways with 50 kilometers per hour and above speed limit. Castro says since the DOTR cannot provide efficient and reliable mass transportation system as they are mandated to do so, they should at least be creative and use modern technology. The Department of Transportation, however, explains that it is not about depriving the commuting public an alternative mode of transportation, but following the order of the Supreme Court. Angkas management, meanwhile, thanked lawmakers for their support, which comes after their filing of comment on the case in the Supreme Court.
And calling out to all legislators to really push for regulation for motorcycle taxis.
And for the news abroad, here's Stephanie C. live from Hong Kong. Stephanie, good evening.
Good evening, Diego. Non-Mexican migrants who cross the U.S. southern border will no longer be released in the United States soon while they wait out the processing of their asylum requests, according to the U.S. Homeland Security. Here's why from Kath Carriedo.
The United States will soon send non-Mexican migrants who cross the U.S. southern border back to wait in Mexico while their U.S. asylum requests are processed. The Trump administration announced on Thursday the measure is an aggressive response to a large and growing number of Central American asylum seekers, many of them families, who are typically released in the United States while their cases slowly wind through clogged immigration courts. It does not apply to children traveling alone or to Mexican asylum seekers.
Once implemented, individuals arriving in or entering the United States from Mexico illegally or without proper documentation may be returned to Mexico for the duration of their immigration proceedings. They will not be able to disappear into the United States. They will have to wait for approval to come into the United States. If they are granted asylum by a U.S. judge, they will be welcomed into America. If they are not, they will be removed to their home countries.
In response to the plan, Mexico's foreign ministry underscored that it still has the right to admit or reject the entry of foreigners into its territory. The ministry says the actions taken by the Mexican and U.S. governments do not constitute a safe third country scheme where migrants would have to request U.S. asylum while in Mexico. Serious doubts remain over whether Mexico can keep vulnerable asylum seekers safe. Authorities are investigating the deaths of 2 Honduran teenagers kidnapped and killed in the border city of Tijuana last weekend. Immigrant and human rights advocates swiftly denounced the new policy, saying it violated international law and would put migrants at further risk. The arrival of several thousand Central Americans in Tijuana about a month ago prompted Trump to mobilize the U.S. military to beef up border security. At the same time, the Trump administration has restricted the number of asylum applications accepted per day, saying they do not have the capacity to process more. Illegal crossings at the southern border have dropped dramatically since the late 1970s, but in recent years, applications for asylum have ballooned and more Central American families and unaccompanied children are migrating to the United States. Kath Carriedo, UNTV News and Rescue, USA.
The Yemeni mother of a toddler dying in the U.S. has arrived in California to visit him after the Trump administration relaxed its travel ban. Shaima Swile, who currently lives in Egypt, was initially prevented from entering America. Her son, 2-year-old Abdullah Hassan, was born with a brain disease that doctors say he will not survive. Abdullah's father, Ali Hassan, has said the visit will allow the couple to mourn with dignity. U.S. Defense Secretary Jim Mattis will leave his job at the end of February, U.S. President Donald Trump said in a tweet on Thursday. His departure had been anticipated since Trump announced on Wednesday that he was withdrawing U.S. troops from Syria despite opposition from U.S. allies and top U.S. military officials. Mattis said in his resignation letter that he was stepping down so Trump could have a defense chief whose views align more closely with his own. Trump said he would nominate a successor to Mattis shortly. Mattis joins a long list of former Trump administration senior figures who have either quit or have been removed. A newly formed boy band serenades British people to convey the emotion felt by Europeans about the impending divorce between Britain and the European Union. Eileen Cerudo tells us why.
As Brexit rapidly approaches, a pro-European Union boy band made its debut with a ballad to the British people, pleading them to come back to us because the love is not over. The 5-member British Union Boys, formed by a Dutch animation artist, launched a video of their first single, Britain Come Back, in Amsterdam this week. Creator Julia Veldman was working on a movie in New York when she heard that the British had voted in a referendum to leave the European Union. Inspired by the British boy band tradition of Take That, Veldman spent a year auditioning members who could sing and dance and also believed in Britain's lasting relationship with the European Union.
I thought Take That. And not just because it reminded me of the same heartbreak, but also because the members of Take That come from Leave Country. Robbie Williams was born in Stoke-on-Trent, and they voted overwhelmingly to leave the European Union. So I thought, what else will work better than the voice of Take That, or the boy band, the best thing Britain ever gave to us, to convince them to take us back.
The result is a group of 5 boys, aged 22 to 25. 3 of them are Dutch university students. With Britain's impending divorce from the EU, stirring political crisis and financial market jitters, Reunion Boys wants to convey the emotion felt by millions of Europeans who want to stay together. Britain, you're great, but together we're greater, they sing. Although they have not yet booked a single gig, the band hopes to tour British pubs to get their message out. One they stress has not been funded by the European Union or any political party. Britain Come Back was written for the Reunion Boys by Flavia Fass, a Dutch song composer. The track doesn't gloss over Britain's bumpy relationship with the EU and blames Brussels for failing to fully appreciate its EU partner. It also criticizes the Leave campaign, saying voters did not have a fair choice. And as is sometimes the case in relationships nearing their end, the Reunion Boys promise Britain the EU things will get better. Eileen Cerudo, UNTV, News and Rescue.
And those are the news from the other parts of the globe. Back to you, Diego.
Thank you, Stephanie C., reporting live from Hong Kong. China's first cloning service duplicates a pooch who has made a career in Chinese show business. China's biotech industry is growing rapidly and faces few regulatory barriers when compared with similar enterprises in the West. Here's why from Victor Cosare.
Juice is a 1-foot-tall canine wonder who has starred in dozens of Chinese film and television productions. A mongrel stray adopted off the streets, the 9-year-old Juice, or Gu Ji in Mandarin, is unable to reproduce since he was neutered from an early age. But his master, animal trainer He Jun, wants to continue his star pooch's image by making a genetic clone. To achieve that, he went to Sinogene, China's first biotech company, to provide pet cloning services. For at least 380,000 yuan, pet owners can clone their pets. Sinogene's CEO Mi Ji-dong says the company's pet cloning business is in its initial stages, but he plans to expand services to eventually include gene editing.
We have discovered that more and more pet owners want their pets to accompany them for an even longer period of time.
Tin Lap Li, an associate professor of biomedical sciences at the Chinese University of Hong Kong, says that while China has regulations on the use of animals for lab research, there are no laws explicitly covering animal cloning.
Now, on the government side, the image of this cloning industry is very high-tech. And definitely our country is very supportive for those high-tech industry because of the high profit margin.
In Juice's case, skin samples were collected from the dog's lower abdomen, and within weeks, Sinogene was able to isolate his DNA and fertilize an egg. The fertilized egg is then surgically inserted into the uterus of a surrogate mother dog, in this case a beagle. Juice's copy, Little Juice, or Ji in Chinese, was born in mid-September and stayed with its surrogate mother in Sinogene's lab for about a month. The puppy was later given to He at a small ceremony at which the original Juice was present. While he has not committed Little Juice to show business just yet, he sees a lot of potential. Victor Cosare, UNTV News and Rescue.
And those are the reasons behind the news, December 21, 2018. On behalf of Angela Lagunzad, I'm Angelo Diego Castro III. Because we need to know, we will always ask why. Good evening.